Good afternoon from Southwest Missouri. This is my first attempt at making a YouTube video that I hope is seen and comprehended by some that it can help. I am a real-life dairy producer. Me and my husband have a milk contract with DFA, and we milk 40 lactating. I know we're small fry in the scheme of things, through a double 4 herringbone parlor, which, if that doesn't make sense, that's fine and dandy. I'll get to that at some point and show you the parlor. But at any rate, we are pasture-based for the most part. We feed hay, we supplement the grass with hay when needed, and we also feed a 16% protein grain to the parlor, averaging about 18 pounds per head per day, split into 2 feedings. So they hold up a lot better here on the grass and sod than they ever did in confinement. And yes, we have a solely confinement-based history. My husband and I moved April 2020, 715 miles with all our cows to Southwest Missouri from Minnesota. And we came out of total confinement. Most of these cows had never even stepped foot on grass until they hit Southwest Missouri. It took them a full year to comprehend that what they were standing on was actually edible. But once they did that, they never looked back. We are 75% registered. Mostly they're Holsteins. We have some brown Swiss, and then we're starting slowly to get into some Guernseys. So, what I would like to emphasize tonight, and the whole message of this video is to say this. I have been asked, why don't we have dairy bulls? It comes up pretty commonly when these girls will deliver a bull calf, a dairy bull calf. And the reason that we don't keep them around is pretty straightforward. We can't afford the risk. Dairy bulls are inherently evil. It doesn't take long for them to have a switch flip in their heads, and they are trying to take a person out. They do not have a long life expectancy because of that one factor. I prefer, hands down, to AI our girls, and that way there's a couple things that I have going for me. I can genetically improve a cow. So let's say Jaden here. Jaden is nice, wide and open rib, but she has a little bit of a short teat deal going on there. So I can pick out a bull that, according to linear scoring and numbers, will improve her and add teat length and make her daughter a better cow than Jaden is. So I don't have to deal with the risk factors associated with a dairy bull, and I can genetically improve our cows. It really works in our favor because we are always after a better dairy animal, being a registered herd mostly. We average 2.7 services per conception on lactating cows and 1.2 on virgin heifers. That can be attributed to a couple things. Virgin heifers do not have the stress associated with milk production. When a lactating cow delivers her first calf, her sole energy is switched to maintaining body condition, yes, but it's mostly going to produce volume in milk and components such as fat and protein. So because of that, they become a little trickier to get bred back. I have an unmeasurable amount of patience compared to some producers, and I'm not knocking those that do it the other way where they shut them off at 4 or 5 breedings. But if a cow like Jaden here doesn't breed back, I just keep trying until I get a pregnancy out of it. Because being the small herd that we are, I personalize these cows. They're not just a way to make a living, they're family. And every time we are forced to cull cows, and I will freely admit we do, we sell cows for slaughter at the end of their productive life. But I don't make that decision just off the top of my head. I think it through, and when there's no other option left, then I cull. So I hang on to them as long as I can and try to give them the best life I can. But back to the dairy bull deal. We do use beef bulls as cleanup quote unquote. So let's say I'm having a tough time getting a cow bred back, and she is just not settling, in the summer heat in particular. It gets really dicey. I will use live cover beef, because beef bulls are a lot more gentle and calm. They don't throw tantrums when I take cows in and out. They just accept it for what it is, do their job, and then I get a pregnancy out of it. The only downside to that is that obviously we are a dairy herd, and I don't have much use for those crossbred calves because they're not going to give us the volume. So I keep a choice few of them, and we're kind of seeing which way they play out, if they go beef or dairy side of things, or where they land. The reason I'm keeping any at all is because of their dams. So their mamas are genetically superior cows, and it just ended up that they were crossbred. But with, ladies and gentlemen, dairy bulls are nothing to mess around with. I often say that the safest place for a dairy bull is a negative 320 nitrogen. I mean that from the depths of my heart. Don't mess around with them. Leave them to the stud companies that have the infrastructure to deal with them. Because trust me, even though they may be nice now, I can almost guarantee you the time is coming and that's going to flip and they're going to be chasing you. And I have known one too many good folks that have been killed or seriously injured from a dairy bull. They are simply not worth the risk unless you have a pen that is cemented in concrete and you bring the cows that need service to that sire. Otherwise than that, it is absolute suicide to run a dairy bull with a herd of cows, or any cows at all, because in his mind he owns them and you are an intruder that needs to be taken out. So that's my word of advice for the evening. I hope this helps somebody. I do not want to come across condescending in any way. What bothers me is to see people making very, very foolish decisions regarding cows, and it could cost you them their lives. So that's the total effort and the total thought process behind making this video. Stay safe, y'all. Drink milk.